Joe Budden triggers Ish and Ice.
Y'all say that's good for your brands and image.
I'm the that stands on what you're saying. I don't have a brand that stands on that.
I'm worried about your brands and your image and your likeness.
I just told you.
If you would listen for a second, push your mic away from you for a second.
Yeah, man. Joe Budden and Ish and Ice exchanged some interesting words on the last episode of the Joe Budden podcast, with Ish and Ice snapping at Joe and Joe revealing what he really thinks about them as podcasters. This whole discussion happened as a result of gift giving, and it was something brought up about the future debate. And Joe was positing that there's only but so long that you can actually give thoughtful gifts. And at a certain point, you have to give up the cash, the money, kind of revealing his tricking ways. But Ish and Ice were arguing that no, thoughtful gifts go a long way. Now, as to the debate, I don't know who's necessarily right, because I do think with the women that this cast deal with, that yes, the thoughtful gift can only go but so far. And even Ish and Ice's theory of a man giving $15,000 is more important than a man giving $15,000 if he's rich. I don't know, buddy. I think a lot of the women that y'all deal with would prefer the rich man. But the key issue in this back and forth was Joe revealing that he thinks Ish and Ice play it safe. Now, for the most part, there's generally this theory that when Joe Budden does things like this, he's trying to, engage. He's not being real. But it's actually something that he has said throughout the time of Ish and Ice's era on the Joe Budden podcast. They play it safe. They pander, particularly Ice, who before, back in the day, was very disrespectful on Twitter. He was very crazy. He was a troll. But now on the podcast, he's trying to present as a family man. He always is kind of pandering. And you're not just looking at what I'm saying. This is the same thing that Parks has echoed, Imani has echoed, and even Joe Budden. It's not an opinion or a narrative that I'm planting. So Joe revealed what he thought. He revealed what a lot of people think. And Ish and Ice snapped with them saying, oh, you bugging. How come you saying we lying? That's always the way you go. And I think you're off a little bit. Now, as to how this changes anything, it doesn't really change much, as I think Ish and Ice are who they are at this point. I severely doubt their abilities to get better 3 years in. And matter of fact, I think Ish has gotten worse, and I think Ice has maintained the same, but the podcast has created organizational structures in order to protect him from actual critiques. I remember when I was going at Ice, I don't necessarily think I was going at Ice, I was just pointing out how flawed of a podcaster I thought he was. Joe Budden was extremely sensitive. He was very sensitive about anybody talking about Ice. People talk about Ish. Joe Budden don't throw him a lifeline. Joe Budden doesn't work behind the scenes to take down negative narratives about Ish. He does do that for Ice. He'll go on spaces advocating for how Ice is a great guy. He always comes through in the clutch. Basically everything besides podcasting. I think the other day on Spaces, he said something along the lines of, Ice is just a great guy. Ice does this. I think it's training wheels. Ice is on the podcast with training wheels. And most of the time, people defend Ice is just like on some pity. I haven't met a fan of Ice, of the pod. Like, I never saw someone tell me, yo, I can't wait to hear what Ice says. That's never happened. Once. And Joe is purely keeping him up there just because he's a good guy. He doesn't provide any issues. He knows that if the bottom falls out with the pod, he won't trash him, which is why he protects him. Even when other members of the cast go at Ice like Ish and Flip, Joe Budden is right there. Captain Save-A-Bee Mike. Oh, you leave him alone. You leave him alone, man. That's Ice. That's big Ice. He's a good person. He's not a diva. He's not like Melissa Ford walking off set. He's not like Flip cursing me out, threatening to fight me. He's not like Ish going quiet for long periods of time. Just let him be. Leave him be. That's my icy pool. But let me know what you think about this exchange. I think it was fascinating. And though the cast likes to joke and say, this isn't really anything. It's something. Ish and Ice, few years in, they're still not professionals. They're still not getting busy with the mic. Ish is good at debating. Ish has been good when he got there, but he's largely digressed. And you're seeing with the presence of Mark Lamont Hill, maybe he was a big fish in a small pond all these years. All right, y'all, that's my video on this subject. Follow me on Instagram, The Stop TV. Follow me on Twitter, The Stop TV. Follow me on Patreon. This is Danny from The Stop. Peace.